Yeah, yeah. Good to see you, Chip. What's good this week?
Well, I had two closings yesterday, one for a buyer and one for a seller. And I've got a few strong prospects, let's put it that way. I have about 10 strong prospects for listings in quarter one next year. And
Nice.
one's already signed. I'm meeting one Sunday, meeting another one Thursday. So lining up. So it's all good.
So, when you say they signed, like, what did you have them sign, considering they won't, list for a while?
We can sign an exclusive, which means it's not advertised.
Got it.
So, it's funny because it's funny. She's going into a retirement home. The retirement home won't be ready until mid-February. So I said, well, we'll list your place, late February, early March, that kind of. So she said, what's the next step? And I said, well, and I talked to another realtor friend of mine who's kind of a veteran, and she's like, it's too far off to get her to sign a listing. Like that's, months away.
Hmm.
So I said to her, well, the next step, I said, maybe going to be away in January, but I'll be back by February 1st. I said, I'll come and see you in December and we can do the paperwork. And she said, well, can I sign now? I was like, sure. So I went and got her to sign. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Heck yeah. That's
you want to
awesome.
sign? I'll let you sign. So it's kind of crazy. And then a few others. Like I have quite a few old people, and they're aging out, for various
Mhm.
reasons.
Yeah.
So they're either going into retirement homes or moving in with, children or, so some of them have moved up their time frame because of, health. But so I have about 10
What,
for
I mean, does it typically slow down in the fourth quarter for you as far as, new business in November and
well,
December that goes active?
yeah, last year I had a buyer and a seller in November, December, but it really depends. I've never
Yeah.
had, this has been my best year ever, so I've never
Yeah.
had, this kind of a problem. It's a good problem to
Yeah.
have. But yeah, so it's just like I said, quite a few of my people are going into this retirement home, and it's not opening until February. So, but even one of those, I just sold her sister's house, and she's moving into the same place. And I said, what I told her before, late February, March, and she's like, well, wouldn't we list it in January? I said, well, let me come and talk to you. We'll go over all the scenarios. So, in her case, I think it's better to either sell it privately um, because she's got a walker, she's kind of disabled, and she can't just leave for showings. And I said, look,
Hmm.
in that case, let's just you move into the retirement home, take up whatever furniture you want, and then we'll sell it after you're gone.
Hmm.
And I think that makes the most sense. So we'll talk it through.
Yeah.
Yeah, in her case, she fixates on what she thinks is a problem. Like before, she was like, "Oh, I can't even think about moving into the retirement home because my all this stuff in the garage." Well, she had somebody come and they got rid of all the stuff in the garage, so that problem's out of the way. And now,
Yeah.
she's on to another one. Like, so I just have to assure her that we'll deal with it. Don't worry about it. These are details. So
That's it. Yeah. You know, Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach, says that, if you have the money to fix it, then you don't have a problem. But
yeah,
but we
yeah,
just but we just like to. I
yeah,
just want to get all, wired up about the problem, and I just want to
yeah.
spend it. I don't. I know I have the money, but for some reason, I
That's
just
right.
won't write the check to fix it. I'd
And
rather
that's
deal with the
Yeah.
problem.
And that's kind of what she is. She's kind of, because she said, well, isn't it difficult to sell if it's vacant? And I said, well, you have a great place. Not really. Like, we can talk about staging. We can talk about virtual staging, like it's a face-to-face, thing where her sister just took my advice, did whatever I asked her to do, but
Hmm.
they're obviously different people and different personalities. And yeah, so but because I did such a good job on her sister's place, we had four. That was last week. We had four offers, 152,000 over asking. So and then her
So
granddaughter.
so let me see if I can guess. So 152,000 over asking. So I bet it was like 1.7 million or something.
Well, 1602. We started out at one.
Ah, boom.
We started out at 1,450 and so and settled at 1,602. So, and then
Huh.
the owner from last week, her granddaughter was being married, so she called me right after the weekend and said, my sister Norma was saying, to me at the wedding, like I have to call Chip, so
Yeah, that's so good.
it's all good. Yeah. So
And that's good. And that's good for them to have somebody they can trust. I'm looking at my things. We were talking about problems, and
yeah.
I was listening to that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. If you've seen
I've
that
heard of
book
it. Yeah.
by Mark Manson, it's really good.
Yeah.
But he, articulates problems in a different way. Like I'm just looking at the notes I put on my phone, but basically, people, happiness is in problems, right? So like what makes us happy is to have problems, but to solve them. And then when we've solved those problems, you end up creating new problems, right? And so people are so consumed with not having any problems, like, man, I wish I had a life with no problems, then I'd be happy. That's not true. You need problems in order to be happy, but you need to solve the problems so you can create new and better problems,
That's a good way of
right?
looking at it. Yeah.
And he talks about so the two mentalities that most people have are the denial, right? The denial that they even have the problem in the first place, or the victim mentality, like, there is a problem, but it ain't my fault. It's because
Yeah.
of all this other
Yeah.
stuff, or the
That's right.
market conditions, or that sort of thing. And so they find things that provide a temporary high, you know what I mean? Whether it's shortcutting a deal because you get paid now, but you don't do it correctly,
Right.
or taking that client that is going to be a headache, but you just take it anyhow, or you go out for too many cocktails after work, or whatever.
Yeah.
You replace it with a high so that you don't have to feel with the problem. And then these, just finishing it off, man, these are the couple questions he said at the end you should ask yourself is, what kind of pain do you want in your life? Because the pain is a good thing, like everybody but what kind of pain do you want in your life? What are you willing to struggle for, right? What are you willing to endure pain for? What are you willing to struggle for? Fall in love with the process, not the result. Otherwise, you'll find yourself fighting for something you don't want. And he talks about how he thought he wanted to be a rock star and everything. And for years and years and years, he tried to make it and he didn't. And one day he kind of realizes, man, you know what? At the end of the day, that's not what I wanted. I'm not willing to suffer. I'm not willing to go through the pain of training and all that stuff that you would need to do to be a rock. I just wanted the result, right? I fell in love with the result. I did not fall in love with the process, which is why he never became a rock star. And so to feed off what you had brought up, which was great, man, that just was fresh in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And in her case, I had not met her. I've been aware of her for like a year or so, and because through the sister,
Yeah.
the original person referred her said, "Well, Rosalie is open to talking to you about a realtor, but I think Norma might have a realtor." Okay, fine. So I put her on my newsletter list, and I might even have called her at one point. I can't remember, but then she was in and out of hospital. She had COVID and pneumonia and hip replacement and infection, another hip, so all this stuff. So I would always say to her sister, "How's your sister doing?" So I did pumpkin Popeyes, and so I called her and said, "I'm going to be in your neighborhood. I'd like to drop something off," and because she's in a gated community, so I need a gate code and everything. Can't just knock on the door. So that was first I met her, and you saw a bit of the house, and it's all good. So it was great to finally meet face to face. So those pumpkins are like gold.
We're coming to the time of the year, right?
Yeah. Well, I bought 75 pumpkins for Popeyes, and I probably had about 5 conversations of people that definitely want to list. So it makes it worthwhile. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What's
And I
up,
think,
Wally?
Hey,
Sorry about that.
Wally.
Sorry about that. I was wrapping up a call and then the link would not let me in, and so Miranda sent it to me, and so here I am. Sorry.
No,
How you
you're
guys
all
doing?
good, man.
You guys doing
Here.
okay? You guys doing okay? Huh? What's that, Sierra?
Oh no, I said you're here. That's all that matters.
yeah.
Yay!
So the birthday funnel was last week, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I was in the car
He just
listening.
hasn't touched his computer since then.
Damn it, Chip. Damn it. Why did you have to say that? I didn't realize. Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, today we just have an open discussion, and Wally will be great in providing some insight. But talking about ways to get more out of less. Right now, creating new opportunities at this time of the year that are going to convert. Between now and the end of the year, it's sometimes difficult. Any time of the year, getting more out of less is tough. But that's a good goal. I remember one time what made me think of this is when I was in the investment business, walking down the hall, and David York, who was a director of field operations, he was our director of field operations. Didn't even deal with sales, but so he should have had no business even saying anything to me. But he was, second in charge or whatever. And so I'm walking down the hall, and he goes, "Hey Jeff, you want a raise?" And of course, I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I mean, I get paid in that deal. You were on. I can't remember if I'd gone straight commission yet. There's a period in time when you get paid $500 a week, and it's draw against any commissions that you make. So then they claw it back when you get some commissions. But so I might have still been on draw. But he said, "You want a raise?" So of course I'm like, "Yeah." And I go sit down, and he pulls out this spreadsheet and goes, "Well,
Sell more.
I was just looking at your numbers." And he had done added up all the calls that I had made over a quarter, and then took how much money I had made year to date, and then divided it out by the calls. And he goes, "Look, you're making this much per call. So the way I figure it, if you just made 50 extra calls a day over the course of a week, blah, blah, blah." Right. And he changed it into me making more money, which he was right in some sense. But on the other hand, I also remember when it clicked in my mind to stop asking somebody for a quarter unit and just ask them for 2 units,
Right.
and then let them tell me, "Are you crazy? I can only do a unit."
Yeah.
Instead of me starting off with a quarter unit because I'm scared to ask them for 100 or 150,000 or whatever it would be. So if there was a minimum of 50,000, 90% of the salespeople in the office are selling 50,000. That's what they're qualifying for. That's what they're asking for. And so immediately you could get a raise by just asking people for more. And what really worked best is, if I talked to you about a unit, we'd go to the paperwork and accidentally fill it out for 2 units. And you'd go, "Oh, hold on a second, Jeff. I thought I said I was only going to do a unit." But at least I kept you from going down and saying, "Hey, did you say there was a quarter unit available?" Or something like that. Or some people would take the 2 units. But when you came out of the gate offering a quarter unit, it's always harder to go up than it was down. So if I came out of the gate talking to you about a quarter unit, and we get hot and bothered about it and everything, trying to get you up to a unit is still hard, but much easier to go from a unit to below. And the same thing, what we would do in the brokerage with Jay and Mike is target an audience that would provide a certain amount of transactions per year and at a certain price level, right? So Mike Fowler right now is doing is he's gone from a $400,000 price point to an $800,000 price point. And so doing the same work gets you a lot more. And what I think of it as is the 3 ways from a salesperson that you can do it. The levers you can pull would kind of be frequency, right? The frequency, I mean, I can call more, I can generate more leads, I can reach out to people more, all that stuff. But at some point that gets pretty hard. Or you have the efficacy, right? Which is where you can definitely move the needle, and you can get better in the conversations that you have. You can create better messaging with your brand, better funnels that convert, better presentation, all that stuff. So that's an area that's easy to pull on, I think. And then the other one is the currency, right? And so just asking for more, changing your audience to one that is more affluent or looking to purchase in a higher priced market. Giving up stuff that you aren't able to get a hold of for a referral fee. I made more money by opening my desk drawer and handing somebody all the people I couldn't get a hold of or close, and just said, "I'll take 50% if you can ever close that person." Right. Because I was too attached to it. I just couldn't, whatever reason, they needed a second voice. And ego had kept me holding on to that shit in my file drawer. Like I had something, nobody's going to touch I'm going to close this person, and there's nothing happening. It's decaying in my drawer every day. But sure as shit, you give it to Wally, who doesn't know this person, doesn't have this tape running in his head about the whole deal, comes back into the office and says, "I just picked so-and-so up for 25,000. You're like, "Oh my God, what the hell?" so just making money, letting go of some of that stuff, not worrying about the whole thing. 50% is better than 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing, right?
Absolutely. And the funny part is I was coaching with somebody else last year, August, for a few months, and a high performance coach. And she had asked me, and of course, last year was a terrible year for me. I had like no business. I think I did one deal, and that was a personal deal. And it was just, COVID, and I was sick and lots of reasons. Anyway, she said, what is your goal for next year? And I said, well, I'd like to do $10 million worth of volume. And she said, well, why not 15 million? I said, well, I like how you think. Sure, why not, right? So, of course, then I started with Beverly and coaching. And she said, what's your goal? This was like February of this year. And at that point, I already had a couple deals in the contract. And I said, well, my goal is 15 million. She said, well, what would it take to do 20 million? It's like, oh God, here we go, And I said, well, basically we're looking at $1 million a deal. So 5 more deals, that would be it. But in reality, my deals have been like $1,250,000. So that extra 250 turns out to be an extra 90,000 in commission, So that's, you want to give yourself a raise, there's my raise, So just get bigger deals, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love, always shoot for the stars.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I had an investor one time who called and said, Jeff, I'm interested in doing this. I have this tax liability, and how much is left on this project? And, that's a loaded question. Like, damn, I'm wise enough to know I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and say like, oh, there's 1 left and I'd be happy to get 1 or 2. Oh my God, he did 2. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Let me get back to you. So I go into Tim's office and I go, so-and-so called and said how much it's left. And he goes, well, tell him there's 7 units left. I mean, that's basically what's not committed for, 7 units, which was like $1.2 million. And so that night, like I was on my way to Del Frisco's, the steakhouse here, and I going down this back road and I called him. And I was nervous, and I said, hey, Mike, I talked to Tim, and so there's 7 units left. And basically he said money in the door takes it. So if you want it, it's yours. And I just did my best. I'd shut up, didn't say anything. And for like 30 seconds, it was quiet. And he goes, all right, I'll take them all and we'll wire the funds tomorrow. Okay, bye. And I just hung up and got off the phone, and that was, but I could have said 2 units. I could have said 3 units, he would have done what I told him. But just, going for it. Right. And even if they would have said, oh man, I can't do 7, I can do 5. I still would have got more than what I would have planned for.
Yeah, that's right.
What are your thoughts, Wally, on getting more, right now out of, assuming I can't generate any new leads, man, there's no new expireds coming in. There are no new sources. I got to do something with the 2,000 names I got in my database to get some deals in the next 60 days.
I mean, I don't ever think there's not new sources and leads, right? So I can never assume that, because there's always opportunities, right? I know you're using it just for the purposes of this call, but there's always somebody new you can call. But I have 2,000 people in my database. Are we assuming that these are leads you generated that you didn't sell anything to, or these past clients in Sphere? Is it both? Like, I mean, because what that is matters. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it's all past clients in Sphere, then clearly you need to be talking to these people on a quarterly basis. They should all be getting a handwritten note from you. Every one of them should be getting a market update once a month. I'm a big fan from last week of sending out a birthday card with a $5 gift card to Starbucks or Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts, depending upon where you are in your part of the world. And then just making sure that I stayed on top of them, making sure that I'm connected with all them on social media, and that I'm educating and informing and adding value. And but the thing is that's organic. That takes time, but that's something you have to do regardless of what's going on in your business. And then, if it is past leads and whatnot, then you have to, the whole shake the trees methodology. And you can even do the shake trees with your past client Sphere database, sending out a message. Hey, listen, huge shortage of listings. Homes are selling for, 10 to 25% more than ask in most cases. Got lots of buyers looking for a home. If you'd like to sell your home in, 24 hours to one of our buyers without listing it, please let me know. Or if you know anybody that's looking to sell your home, let me know, or sell your home without listing it, to one of our buyers, something like that. And then if it's buyers, just say, hey, listen, there are still some houses out there. One of the things I did today on a call, and I can play it if you want. I did some training for some ISAs yesterday. And, you just use the strategy of, look, if you can tell us where you want to live, we'll go find a house for you. We'll call into that neighborhood and find you a house, go knock on doors, which a lot of people have had some success with yet too. So it's about a 4-minute call, but that was part of the strategy on the call yesterday. So, I mean, it's just a matter of getting in front of and staying in touch with these people and giving them a reason to reach back out to you or to talk to you, because you're going to get them something that they may not be able to get themselves,
Yeah, and you were talking about the birthday card. One thing that we have started to do a lot better this year is reaching out to people and intersecting with their real life. Unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks, we've had some clients and partners that have dealt with some tough things, and so stopping to send flowers and stopping to recognize them in real moments in their life, not just on the generic birthday and stuff like that. It's like when you see Shannon Marty's dog pass away, you know what I mean? Sending a message and stuff like that. We've done a lot better job at that, and you connect on a whole different level, I think, that way.
It's funny you should bring that up. I almost bought a house last week, last Saturday. We went to see a house. It was a townhouse, a beautiful golf community, gated community, which I don't really like gated community. We don't have very many of them in Canada. They're kind of an anomaly, but beautiful scenery, on the golf course. And anyway, didn't get it. There were 2 offers. We were 10,000 short. But I was driving around the neighborhood, and there's everybody goes by you, waves, it's that kind of community. This guy was jogging, and he waved a couple times, and went down the street, and he stopped, and he's like, "One of your headlights is out." I said, yeah, I know. I just saw the thing last night on the dashboard. So he said, "What are you looking to buy?" And my client in the car. And so we got talking, asked him a bunch of questions, got some inside information that we didn't know. And so anyway, then I was going to ask him his name. He said, "Oh, I just live right here." And but then a car was behind me, I had to go. So I figured out who he was from his address, and I sent him a thank you card with brownies. It just said, "I really appreciated the information and meeting you, et cetera, et cetera." And then I also followed up by doing another card to everybody in the community, saying, "Look, I have a client that missed out on a house. You're thinking of selling, or if you know anybody who's thinking of selling, give me a call." So we'll see what happens. I mean, at the very worst, I could get a listing that we don't want, right? I have to sell
At the
somebody else.
very worst, you
Yeah.
made you made movement in the water, and
Yeah,
sometimes that travels a long ways before it runs into
that's right.
something, right?
That's
But
right.
you
Yeah.
made some movement.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, so you have to sometimes think outside the box. Like I did appreciate this information, because one of the questions I had to the guy, because these houses are sprinkled around the golf course. Well, the golf course looks like it's going to be sold. It's just a matter of time. They put in a couple offers in the spring that didn't go through, but there were 8 votes short. So eventually they're gonna get those 8 votes. So what he told me, because I said, "Well, do most of the homeowners belong to the golf club?" And he said, "No, most don't." And he said, the people that have memberships, they'll get $1 million a piece. But he said that we had a back channel offer, basically saying, because we know you're going to be disrupted during construction, each homeowner was offered $250,000. Well, that's kind of important information to know if you're going to buy, that you might get a discount of 250,000. And it was really just by talking to this guy that I found that out. So.
Oh yeah, right. Potentially, you don't want anybody buying on that premise, though. And then if they don't get it, you'd be
No,
like,
no,
"Chip."
it's potential. No, it's potential. But it's just, I know it's a matter of time. By
Yeah,
the time they build, it'll probably be 5 years. So, and I know who the builder is that offered on the property. They'd be build big houses, nice lots. Like it's going to be tastefully done. So, I'm not a golfer, so I don't really care about the golf course. But
it's just nice,
But
nice to look at.
because my headlight was out, he stopped, and we had that conversation. I got more information, and it's like one little thing leads to another.
Better, under efficacy. One of the things that I had written down, I didn't get to do the slides that I planned on, but one of the things I had written down was to improve questioning skills, right? So, I mean, every conversation you have, I mean, you're having that conversation one way or the other, and sometimes better questions, those conversations can reveal more, man. So I think that's a good example of that. Also, we used to ask, Miranda remembers this, when we were doing ISA calls, we started asking on every call, by the way, do you happen to own any acreage lots or any other properties that you might be looking to sell in the near future? Especially calling the expireds and stuff like that. You come across those little small builders, those LLCs sometimes, or just sometimes people would say, as a matter of fact, yeah, we do own another house over here that we're planning on selling. And so while you might not get a lead on the address that's on the lead that you called, sometimes it would reveal other information. So just adding that one last question on, by the way, do you have any other, property acreage lots or anything else?
Good idea.
Leveraging your vendors, right? We talked a little bit about that. Leveraging your, if I can get somebody to, hedge my cost and pay for some of the marketing, then, that's giving me a pay raise right there as well. In my mind, reaching out to your client base more, like Wally said, leveraging those people that already know, like, and trust you. Find multiple deal opportunities. If you're following our sellers counseling interview, then you're probably asking, where do you plan on going? Do you already own there, or do you plan on buying? And leveraging the network of agents that that might be able to represent them on the other side of the deal if you can't.
I don't know whether this fits into what you're doing, but what you're talking about, but I was planning on having a Christmas party this year, but because of COVID, our indoor numbers are limited to 25. But I have a lot of seniors, and of course seniors don't like to come out at night, and it's icy and cold. So I thought I'd have an afternoon tea, just as a Christmas tea kind of thing, and invite the seniors as well as my people that my contacts at the retirement home and my downsizers. So I have about 12 clients or prospects. One or two of them, actually three of them I can think of, have already signed. Or sold, so they're true clients, but the other 9, are kind of like real warm prospects. So the whole deal is going to cost me about $1,000, but if I get those other 9 converted, that's
Oh yeah,
$9 million plus,
Makes
so
sense.
yeah. So I'm doing that in December.
I love that idea. I just think bringing those people together, with you, just bringing those people together, I think is like, a good thing, and the universe would pay you back for just creating that bridge to bring those, because they're going to have a bunch of shit in common, and they're going to have some mingling. People are going to develop relationships beyond that. What do you think, Wally? You're on mute. There you go.
You're on mute now.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear the last part. What do I think about?
Oh, just the whole thing, man. He's having that tea party, which I love.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, are all the people that are going to come be afraid they're all going to be older women that think you're wooing them with brownies and tea?
No, there are a couple men. Well, the one woman that
I'm teasing you. No, I'm just messing with you.
The pumpkin pie,
that old lady
the
thought you were
brownies.
wooing her with brownies. I'm just teasing you.
No, it's true.
Like, you got to know. I mean, it's like everything else. You got to know your client base, and if you think coming over for tea and some cakes is going to be great for them, then you do it. I mean, I guess the question is, how many people could you have if it were outside?
I can't do it outside. It's December. We're in Canada.
Oh, you're doing December?
December.
So may I make a suggestion?
What's that?
You have them come over in shifts. So rather than just doing one, what's that?
No, it wouldn't work. Well, there's 18 people. There's 3 tables.
No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. You only have 18 people, or you have more than 18 people that could come?
No, I have 18.
You don't have any more than 18?
Well, I can't hold any more than 18.
That's what I'm saying. You have them come in shifts. You do 2 during the day or 3. You know what I'm saying?
Why
wouldn't you do that?
It's the 2 to 4. First of all, afternoon tea. There's only so many hours in the afternoon. It's 2 to 4.
How long does tea take? Why don't you do 12 to 2 and then 4 to?
Yeah, good idea. I like it.
There's no time limit on tea. Come on, there's no time limit on tea.
I don't know why you would limit yourself to 18 people when you could probably get 36. I mean, the whole
point
because
of COVID. First of all, we're limited to 25.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why you would do one party, clean up, and have another party, and get twice as many people in front of you.
Actually, I don't think I have that many, but a good idea. I could always do something else later on.
That's fine.
February, February party or something like that.
Intimate, it's a nice little intimate thing. You're going to have tea and little cakes and
So
I mean,
most of them, not all of them, most of them have connection to the retirement home, which is why I'm having the people from the retirement home come too.
there you go.
And
Perfect.
some of them I've referred my downsizer, so she'll be there. So I think it'll be a good thing. I like how you think, but
If it wasn't for the COVID thing, I'd want to invite everybody at the retirement home.
well, I
Right?
can
I
only
mean,
handle some. This is in my house, right? This I only
yeah,
handle so many people, and you know the tree will be up, and it's a whole Christmas thing. So
yeah, it'll be
it's
nice.
more of an experience, yeah. So I'll keep you posted, Wally.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
You get some video, you know, you're gonna have some videos, some Facebook videos, because they'll love that'll be stuff they can show their family and
Yeah.
grandkids,
Yeah.
because they ain't recording themselves. You know, you're
No.
gonna,
No. No.
so that'll be good.
Yeah. So we'll see
What
what happens.
yeah. What's Wally, I'm curious to hear, man. You mentioned that call that you had with some ISAs. What have you been talking about this week? Not related to this topic, you know, necessarily, but just what have you been talking about this week?
One of the things you were I think is just doing a better job in every opportunity we have. If that makes any sense. I mean, there was a point probably 15, 16, where the market had really recovered and it was on fire. And that's when all the agents started coming in. We were adding 50, 60,000 real estate agents a year or realtors a year in the United States. And it was crazy. And more than that for real estate agents. But, so many agents don't do a good job, don't do a thorough job with the lead opportunities that they have. So let me play the call for you. And then
Play it.
let me, it's not because I'm trying to impress you. I just want to make a point here. So hold on a second here. Do you have that lady's number? So here's the deal. Let me set this up. So this is for a company in California. Their average sales price is around 700 grand. There was a lady looking for a house that had 10-car garage, which is probably a $2 to $4 million house out there. And she set an appointment with the ISA. The ISA turned it over to the agent. The agent called the person. The person's like, "Hey, I'm not looking for a while. I'm going to hold off." And she's like, "I don't know why the woman didn't make the appointment." So I called and had the call. So let's listen to it, and then we can break it down a little bit, So hold on one second here. Am I able to share my screen? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. Hold on one sec here. Jeff, where are you going? Did we lose Jeff?
I think he's muted.
Okay.
Maybe he went to washroom or something.
All right. There you are. He's brushing his teeth. Oh, you're taking notes. Okay, here we go. All right, ready?
Yes.
Give it to me. I'll give her a call. Can you hear?
Okay.
Good. Actually, you know what? Let me do this the right way here. Sorry. When I hit share, I got to hit the share sound. Let me let me go here. So do you have that lady's number?
Yes.
Give it to me. I'll give her a call.
Okay.
Good.
Sorry, my dog's like throwing up.
I hate when my dog throws up.
Oh, she's good. False alarm.
You're gonna call her and talk to her?
Yeah.
Okay. 619.
You don't want me to?
No, I mean if feel free, yeah.
Okay, 619.
9970.
Okay, mute yourself, please.
Hello.
Hey, it's Wally with Sea Villa Realty. How are you today?
Oh, good, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, keep getting called by Sea Valley. I'm not interested in the moment of dealing with a realtor.
Oh, you are? So you have another agent to work with? Is that why you decided not to make your appointment with us?
No, I'm just not ready. But I want a very, very, very specific property, and I just want to keep looking on my own for now.
Okay.
I'm not ready to commit to a realtor.
If we find something, maybe we give you a call and get it to you.
It's so specific what I'm looking for. I've seen it, I drive by it, but the odds for it to go on the market, I just don't think are high enough to waste anybody's time except mine.
Well, no, and I appreciate that, but here's the thing. We have people who actually call into neighborhoods to see if people want to sell their home. So if there's a specific place you want to look or something like that, or a house you're interested in, we have people that can call into a neighborhood and find a home that has a garage for 10 cars. You related to Jay Leno, by the way?
No, but he's one of my heroes.
I know, I bet he is. He's got like 60 cars, so whatever. That's awesome. So I guess my question is, if you could get on the phone with us for a few minutes and give us every little detail you want, would you give us an opportunity to maybe hunt down a home for you?
No, because I don't like when people call me and find out if I want to sell my house.
Yeah, but you know what? Not everybody thinks like you. And trust me, if somebody's willing to pay for a house in this market, a lot of people are excited to sell their home. I wouldn't discount it just on that.
I don't know, but well, I'm also a bargain hunter, so
Okay.
it's not like I'm really willing to pay top dollar for a house.
I understand that. Again, I mean, just, and again, you don't have to do it. I guess the point is you know, it's because it's so specific, you need every possible, you know, thing to get out there to find some bait to grab a home for you. And I just felt if you were willing to give us a chance to take a look and find a home for you, I'd rather have us bring it to you and have you say no than miss out on something.
Yeah, that's what I want to be able to get pre-approved.
Okay.
And make sure that we can even, you know, I don't even know what mortgage range I can.
Okay.
I don't want to sell my current home.
That's fine.
I do want to rent out my current home.
Gotcha.
We found a place.
Good time to rent too. Rents are through the roof too, so it's no problem with that. Let's do this. Can I make a suggestion?
Okay.
Let me have somebody give you a call, at least give you an idea of what you can afford. And if that number makes sense for you, what I'll have do is have Amber get your specifics from you, and then we'll just have people check around and see if they can find something for you. And if you can give a specific neighborhood you're interested in, then we can give some calls. And if we find something great, and if not, then you can continue to work on your own too. Is that cool?
You guys are persistent.
Well, I mean, listen, that's just what we do. I mean, how, you know, I got 4 kids to feed. They like clothes and food and all that other stuff. And I mean, listen, I don't want you to go meet with some real estate agent that doesn't give a rat's ass about you and doesn't do a good job for you. You know, we want to take care of you and do a good job for you, which is why we keep calling.
Okay, it's just like like when you randomly call me, it seems easier than for me to make appointments. I'm awful at.
Okay, no problem.
So what's the next step for me to figure out if there's even a price range I can afford?
Okay, I'm going to have our preferred lender, who, by the way, can save you a bunch of money on fees. It's not going to charge you a bunch of junk fees. So I'll have him give you a call, and then he'll let us know once you find a range. And if that range is good, then Amber will call you back, get your details, your specifics, and then we're going to put on our miner's hat and go find you a house. Okay?
Okay.
Awesome. All right. My name's Wally. Great speaking with you. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Straight G, Wally.
So
I got that. I love it.
Damn.
So
That was awesome.
that's 10 objections deep in the call.
Reminds me of my ISA days.
Yep, the good old days, right? So, but the whole point is a lot of people don't want to go that deep, you know, and so you got to wonder of the people you're speaking with, how many more questions do you have to ask? Like, what else do you need to combat? I mean, that was 10 objections, you know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, listen, if somebody calls about a house, you know, and so here's her problem. And if you don't ask enough questions, then you don't know what the problem is, right? People get excited about buying a house. She wants to buy a house with a 10-car garage. She saw a house. She's like, oh my God, maybe that's it, right? And so she calls on it. And then somebody says, hey, well, listen, you know, we can get you access to all that stuff. When would be a good time for us to get together? I'll get you on the phone with our, you know, our specialist in La Jolla, I guess it was California, and they can go ahead and, you know, set you up in a customized search and then get you out to find some houses and see some houses. And so they're, you know, she's like, yeah, that's great. And then when the agent called, her name was, I forget what her name was, but anyway, so the lady was like, yeah, you know, I'm just, you know, I don't think I'm quite ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of finding some stuff with some other agents, and, you know, I'm looking around, I'm not quite ready. So then I called her. So look, she hasn't been pre-approved. She really hasn't even found a house that she likes. You know, she doesn't want to sell her home. She wants to rent it, you know, so she had lots of uncertainty in her mind surrounding what she wanted to do. So I'm just a big fan of the baby step. You know what I'm saying? Let's just baby step you there. One little thing or the other. Listen, I'm not asking you to do anything to let us get you pre-approved and go look for a home for you. That's it. I'm not asking you to commit to me, not asking you to go look at houses. Let's see if we can find something for you. What's the harm in that? You know? But, you know, I did it professionally. It was very conversational. We had a conversation. I joked around with her a little bit, you know. And but you know, that was 10 objections deep on that call. It only took 4 minutes, but so I think part of the answer to your question from earlier is go and do a better job with the leads that you have. Get them on the phone and ask them more questions. Ask them, you know, if I could, would you? If I could, would you? If I could, would you? I must ask her that 3 or 4 times until you find something, you know, and that's it. So, you know, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, the other thing is that's, you know, in that area of the country, it's like $2 to $4 million for a house like that, you know, that's worth going 20 questions deep, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's just kind of what I'm saying. So what I'm working on with people is, you know, with the leads you have, do more to find out what their motivation is and get them to take action. Or as Alec Baldwin said in Glengarry Glen Ross, to sign on the line which is dotted. So anyway, that's all.
Yeah, that call is great, man.
With these leads, I could go out tonight and make $15,000. So anyway.
Can you?
My walk in your car. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that
anyway.
call was awesome. I'm so glad that you shared it, man. That was awesome. I bet they were like,
Well, it's funny. It's funny because the ISA, she goes, "You piss me off." Like you
but
piss
that's
me
good,
off.
right?
Yeah.
When you see that, man, you
Mhm.
go, oh fuck, maybe I am not, like, in my mind it was impossible for that person until you see somebody do it, and then you're like, oh shit.
I mean, but
Like,
that's
it opens up your eyes, I think, when you see somebody take something you thought was dead and they turn it around. You look at yourself a whole different way and go, maybe I'm not doing what I
yeah.
thought I was.
And I'm in the business for 23 years. I mean, I should be able to do that better than a lot of people.
Yeah, but
You-
it gives them faith, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
when you see somebody next to you close a deal or do something like that, it gives you faith that, man, I can do it too. I loved it.
Thank you.
What did I write down here? I just love the thing, positioning, your ISAs in a different manner as a benefit to a buyer, positioning the ISAs that way, I think is, dude, unique. You could say that we offer something that nobody that I know of does. I mean, you could say something along those lines. You could, our team of, property detectives or something. I'm just making shit up, to give it to really give it a picture or something. But that's a huge benefit when you say that. Looking for, and it played in perfectly to you because you need you're looking for something super specific. Then that's exactly what that does, man. I think that's a game changer right there that I would be telling everybody to be using.
I mean, it's like everything else. Like, you're just spoon feeding back to them what they're telling you, what I'm saying, and doing it in such a way that you can make it possible, Now, look, she still may not move for a while, but we've got an opportunity to advance the sale, which is what you need to do in any selling situation. Even if you're putting them in the pipeline, you got to advance the sale. And if I can only get her to talk to a lender and she doesn't get pre-approved, at least I got her farther than never talking to me again,
Man, and if it was the ISA who had that conversation, regardless of whether or not that person moves forward or not, I got to do it. And then, the next time, hopefully I'll do it. It's like, man, just doing it on the next call. Imagine the confidence that you'd have on the next person that you talk to. And the next time you get in that position, it's not quite as uncomfortable and, off the cuff. You're prepared. You've dealt with it before. And so, I think it's like execution, right? Just fall in love with executing at a high level and let the results take care of themselves. If you just get focused on the execution, man, yeah, maybe they don't say, I did that 5 times, like Wally said, and still ain't got a deal from it. But the 6th time, you think you would have gotten it on the 6th time had it not been for the practice on the 5 times? You wouldn't have, right?
I wasn't getting it on the 6th time with her either. But she wasn't. And listen, it's like anything else. I mean, even Chip, I know Chip does the majority of his business through referral business. But you may run into somebody who gets referred to you who's looking to make a move and wants to sell their home and move into a managed care facility or into some other community or something like that, and you may need to ask somebody 5 or 6 questions just due to uncertainty or whatever. I'm saying, even if it's a referral, because
I've done that.
Yeah, because even people that are referred to you doesn't necessarily mean they're going to roll over.
No, I have a woman that when she sells, I'll get the sale. There's no question about that. I've known her for about 7 years. She's 93, going on 94.
Wow.
I met with her in the spring, early summer, and she said, next spring. It's always next year, next spring. And I said, well, if the retirement home called you in October and said, we have just the suite that you want, and you can go now, no, I'm going to wait till spring. I was like, okay, So I hear what you're saying. Of course, I went to see her with the pumpkin, and she's like, come in. Now her tune is changing. She said, if I knew, if I felt the way I do now last year, I'd be gone by now,
Right,
So I think this time it really will happen. But I did the same thing, just suppose if they called and if this was available, would you do it?
What would you do?
Yeah, that's right. And it also shows that you care about them. You care enough to put in the effort to say, well, let's look at this from a few different angles.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Taking your time, if necessary, it's not a bad thing, right? You don't want to rush people through the sales cycle if they're not ready. But the problem is that people go, I didn't want to push them. Okay, but you didn't even ask any questions to determine if you were pushing them or what the time frame was in the first place. So, hey, if you need several callbacks or you need time for that prospect to mature, no problem, but you should know what needs to take place and have asked the questions to come up with that as your outcome, not just because, right? Just because they need a little bit more time because they wouldn't buy today. And I didn't want to pressure them, that's the wrong approach. I mean, if I knew somebody wasn't going to buy for 6 months, hopefully, I think I would have asked all the reasons on why we can't move any quicker than that. And if there's anything that would extend it, anything potentially that could shorten it, and really have a clear picture of why we're waiting. And then I'm cool with waiting. And here's some things we can do in between now and then to take advantage of the time that we have.
Yep. And that's really the essence of part of the circle prospecting script, right? Is there anything that would allow this move to happen sooner? Is there anything that would prevent us from making a move at all? You know what I'm saying? And those are all very good questions to ask.
And if the answer is no, it's better to know that up front, it's like, it's like that woman that said, no, I'm not pre-approved. Well, you find out she can't afford the $4 million house.
And to your point, sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's good information to have. That's all.
Thanks. Yeah, and to your point, Chip, a no doesn't necessarily mean a no forever. It just means no, not now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a difference between, hey, I already bought a house. Yeah. Or I've already signed a buyer agency agreement, or I've already got an offer on a home with an agent I'm working with. And hey, no, not looking right now. Not, just, you know what I'm saying? There's a big difference in that no. You know what I'm saying? In this world, no doesn't necessarily mean no. In other worlds, it does clearly, but in the world of sales, no, in many cases, it means not now. What do they say? A no is a no, a maybe is a no, and a yes is a maybe. Right? That's the best you can do, Yeah.
Man, that is good stuff.
Yeah, I can send you that call to upload to the website too if you want.
Yeah, because we'll do it for you anyhow, I imagine at some point. So go ahead and send that over to me, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yep.
And we'll sign off for today. Chip, I appreciate you joining, man. Always good to see you. Can't wait to see you in December.
Bye,
y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good seeing y'all.